All right, folks, Fantasy Football Island. I'm Tito. Jeff Thidoff. That's Chad Rink on my right, and also your right, I guess. Follow me on Twitter at That Happens. He is at Ocho Rinko. We are Fantasy Sports powered by DSP Media, and this is the favorite time of the year for us. Drafting starts here pretty soon. If you've already drafted, by the way, I'm not going to say you're an idiot, but you're an idiot. Don't draft now. Draft later, because this is all about drafts we're talking about anyway, and so you're late to the party. Nonetheless, Chad, let's talk running backs, because it used to be that running backs were always like, everybody, take running backs in the first round, in the second round. You've got to do it. You've got to do it. You've got to do it. But as fantasy football has evolved, where it sounds like PPR, before that, it wasn't PPR, but now it's PPR and things like that. It's changed a little bit. Nonetheless, a stud running back can win the league for you.
Yeah, and I'm still like, I remember it was always running backs. It was like you in a 10-team league, 8 running backs would go off the board.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would go running back, and you kind of had to. But like you said, PPR, just some of the scoring and just the way the offenses are now. When we were starting off in like the late 80s, early 90s, it was the running back league. It was just pound, 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 pound. So it's a little bit different now. So you still, I think, need an anchor running back. I am not a big zero running back guy, just because you have to hit on the guy. Like if you had Bucky Irvin and who was another guy that was late, like Chuba Hubbard. If you had like if you hit on those guys,
James Conner.
If you hit on those guys, it was great. If you took Zamir White, you're not happy with the zero running back. So I'm one where I try not to take. I don't go 2 running backs usually, unless it's just too much of a steal at that one. But I do like to get a stud top 5-10 running back in the first 2 rounds.
And in PPR, I still like the running back situation. I mean, you and I talked before we did a draft about this, a mock draft with a full point PPR where we took Jamar Chase at the 1 spot.
Yeah,
I can't argue with that. But I typically don't want to go. I want one of my first 2 picks to be running backs, or 1 running back at least. Like, I'm not going to totally abandon it, depending where you're at in the order, though. And there's different guys that you have to look at. And, when you and I concluded our last podcast we did, we were in a situation where it could have been Gibbs or McCaffrey as our first pick in the draft, and like that 6 spots where you had us at. And I'm curious, Chad, like last year, McCaffrey devastated a bunch of teams. Like he was the guy who could, and now this year, he could be the one that wins the league for you, or again, devastate you. And if you're looking at Gibbs or McCaffrey, where are you leaning?
Okay, so I thought it was going to be Gibbs Lamb, because that's usually what it was, or McCaffrey Lamb. I think if you're in the first round and you've got someone you're going up against, and you have McCaffrey sitting there at the 6-7, I think you got to look at, can the guy I'm drafting over McCaffrey be the top scorer? Because anyone can get injured. So if you're going Gibbs, McCaffrey, I'm going McCaffrey 100 out of 100 times, because I think so, because you still have Montgomery there, so he's going to vulture some touchdowns. The entire coaching staff outside of Dan Campbell is gone, so it's going to look different. Gibbs is great. Gibbs is kind of like a Barkley light, where Gibbs is one of those guys that if he gets the corner, he's gone. He can break these long runs. I think Montgomery still gets a lot at the goal line.
Yep.
And if McCaffrey's healthy, like even if he's only healthy through like 12 weeks, like you're sitting pretty like with your team. Now you hope to have him in the playoffs, but I'm going to go McCaffrey for the fact that I think McCaffrey has a chance to be a top 3 scorer in fantasy, and I don't think Gibbs has that in him.
Okay, so you're telling me, I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. You're saying if I told you get McCaffrey weeks 1 through 12 or Gibbs, and I'm not saying when Gibbs will get hurt. Gibbs could get hurt week 1. He could be done, or he could play the whole season. If I tell you get McCaffrey the first 12 weeks and that's it, would you take him over Gibbs?
and then just assume Gibbs plays all through the playoffs.
Well, but just assume
Yeah,
Gibbs. You're it's a crapshoot with Gibbs.
yeah.
But I'm
I
telling
think
you, I'm guaranteeing you McCaffrey the first 12 weeks.
I think, and this is going to sound crazy. I think I would still take McCaffrey
Okay.
for the fact that McCaffrey's playing. He is most likely going to average 20 to 25 points a week, like in the PPR. And then you know how playoffs happen. You've had like teams like I think last year, like in our league, like your team was really good, and then it just you have a bad week in the playoffs, and that happens where either all your guys just or have average weeks, or just have horrible weeks, or just bad matchups, bad weather, or
Jalen Hurts gets hurt and that screws you out like
exactly. That's what happened to you last year. A guy got hurt, or you just play a team that team just goes off.
Right.
So I think I'd rather have a guy like McCaffrey for 12 weeks, knowing if I have McCaffrey for 12 weeks, I'm probably in a good position to be in the playoffs.
I think the McCaffrey is the most polarizing player this year as far as when it comes to the first round of drafts.
Yeah.
Because if I'm picking fourth, I'm not taking McCaffrey.
Mm-mm.
If I'm picking ninth and he's there, I'll take him. 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know. I have no idea if I'd take him there or not. And that's what I'm looking like, Chad. Like I look at it, and I wonder if you're in that 5 through 8 range,
yeah,
and you took him last year, and it devastated your season,
yep.
I think you'll pass.
Okay. Here's so we'll talk in our running back.
Right.
Which running backs are you comfortable taking in the first round?
Bijan's one.
Yep,
for sure. And comfortable taking.
I have 4, and that's it.
I see now. But you say first, like in round 1, I'm concerned about Saquon,
right?
Because he had well over 400 touches last year when he came to the playoffs, and so like Saquon and Derrick Henry, I'll take the end of round 1. I'm not going to take him at the top of round 1.
Right.
You know, like so it's 10-team league, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm glad. I'll be happy to take CMC, Henry, Saquon there.
Okay.
Bijan in 1 though. God, 2 through 5 or 6. I'm looking at receiver. I don't know what are the running backs you feel comfortable taking. Who do you love?
Well, Bijan is my guy. I love Bijan. Yeah. And I'm comfortable taking CMC because you're getting him at the 6 or later.
6 or later, I'll take him. Yes.
I have no problem taking Barkley in that range. I don't like Bijan's the only running back I'm taking top 5.
Okay.
And then
me too.
And then I like Barkley, McCaffrey, and then I'm comfortable taking Gibbs in the first because I just think he's young. He's got a good offense. He's talented. Henry is. The other guys. I'm like Henry. Like it just, I don't know. Jonathan Taylor, Jacobs, those guys are like, I know I can get them in later in the second round. But here's the problem when you're doing it is I'm only really comfortable taking 5 receivers. So there's really 9 guys that I really like taking in the first round. So if you have like 10 through 12 and those guys are all gone, then you make a decision because there's only the 5 receivers that I like. So in this draft, I want a top 5. Really, I think I'd rather have a top 4 pick.
Right.
Although I think
8, 9, 10.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd rather have a top 7 because if you go Chase, Jefferson, Lamb, Bijan, Barkley, CMC, and I have to take Gibbs at 7. I'm happy. But if Gibbs has gone at 7. Then at 8, I'm looking at Neighbors, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka, Genty, A-Chain, Henry. I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And I probably would end up going St. Brown and then wait and see. So like I think I'm going
to double. You want to golf later on also. I think with Derrick Henry now, I'll like it when I go to Vegas. Okay. Let's say I put a $5 chip on 23 roulette and it hits.
Yeah.
And I say, okay, I'll put it down there again and it hits again. I'm going to pull it away the 3rd time because I'm
Right.
worried it won't hit 3 times in a row. I know that they don't, the odds and all the stuff. If you think like the specifics of it was, it doesn't matter. It could hit again, but
Right.
I would not want to bet on it. And I feel like Henry, he's already defied logic. Like
Yes.
Henry's already doing things. He's already done things that you shouldn't do at his age with that many carries, and that's what
No.
concerns me.
Right. Well, they're playing right now, and they, obviously, again, it's the preseason, so don't
Sure.
buy into it. But I think the Ravens have tried. He's always been hurt. Is they really like Keaton Mitchell,
Yeah.
who did score today. He's got 9 carries for 68 yards and a touchdown. It's a 7.6 yard. Keaton Mitchell to me is like a Devon Achane light. So I
Yep.
think, and if you remember last year, Henry, they gave him some blows last year. Like they
Yeah.
did not, they took him up in series. So I think it's one of those where they figure we're going to make the playoffs. We need him for the playoffs. So I think if Mitchell's healthy, he'll come in for 2-minute drills, third downs. So I don't like Henry in the like if Henry's there in the middle of the second, then I'm thinking about Henry. But I think I still like Chase Brown, Josh Jacobs. I think I still like Genty over Henry at that point. I think I like Jonathan Taylor better than Henry earlier in the second. So
I hate the older running backs. Like Taylor, like I think I would take Henry over Taylor.
okay.
And if I'm picking like 8, 9, 10 and Henry's there, I'd probably grab him. Knowing that coming back at like 11, 12, 13, I get another stud receiver or maybe a pretty good running back like a Chase. I think Chase Brown probably slips into the second round.
He's starting to slide up a little bit more. Jacobs is more like, so if you get, I think if you take Henry, if you look at it, if you take Henry at 8, like the receivers that are there, I'm just gonna pull this real quick to see what happens here.
Sure.
Like if you take Henry at 8, like Henry's falling to the second anyways, but like you're looking like you could pair him with like either if you go receiver, Nico Collins, Brian Thomas, Achane, Bucky Irvin, Josh Jacobs is still there. Chase Brown is still there. AJ Brown, T Higgins, but it might be too early for that. So if you take Henry at that point, you may end up best case is probably double up running back there.
Yeah, and then because it's easier to find a number 2 receiver that'll be productive. It's easier to find that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I think that's what you do if you're on the back end and take Henry. Okay. So let's say like we did a draft, the last draft, we went Chase Higgins. So let's say you do just based on who's drafted and stuff, you go receiver, and then like we end up taking Cook and we didn't really like it. So let's say if you really are going to go 0 RB, like I'm going receiver, you go tight end, you take another receiver. Like, so let's say you're waiting till the 6th round. Who are guys that you think are going later on like that? And we just did a draft. I don't have it up still. I could probably just do this one to see who's.
No, you look at it though, you see like, later on in the draft like that. I mean, now you're looking at either at the best a timeshare guy, at the worst a true number 2, and that's where the issue comes in. You got to look at, and then you start thinking might be throwing darts. It's like at a team that's got a running back that's number 1 but not secure,
right?
Or a number 1 who's injured a lot, and that's what you have to look at then in that situation. So, like I don't know, I mean, who's going to be the number 1 in Cleveland? Who's going to be the number 1 in. Like because the Judkins situation there where he's not in camp yet and who knows when he'll play, like Jerome Ford seems like the guy there. He's somebody you probably look at as a running back type thing. And then you got to start looking at like David Montgomery, I think at that point, if all those running backs are gone, David Montgomery's got some value all of a sudden because like you said, and I agree with you, he gets the goal line carries, and that's what it is. And he could be a guy who rushes for 700 yards, but 10 touchdowns, Yeah.
Well, I mean, look what Williams did there at 20 touchdowns that one year. And if Gibbs gets hurt, and Gibbs, at least with the old offensive system, Gibbs and Montgomery, they would take turns on drives. So there becomes, so that's that. A guy that I like kind of in that, because Montgomery's going late 5th, probably early 6th. Another guy's going in that same range is I don't mind Isaiah Pacheco. Okay. You get a Chiefs running back, and they brought back, I think Kareem Hunt's there.
I think
and
he's
then
there also, yeah.
Brashad Smith, but he's a late round. He's just more of a speed guy. He ended up being like a Jerick McKinnon role.
Right.
I don't mind Pacheco because Pacheco's one of those guys too where he's not going to do much out of the backfield, but he's going to probably get almost all the carries inside the 5. So getting a Chiefs running back, even though he has not produced 10 like I was looking at it, a Chiefs running back has not produced 10 rushing touchdowns. It's been a while.
Really? Are we talking like
Kareem Hunt? Like
it's gone back pretty far then. Yeah,
I went back to like 2019, and it wasn't. So, not one. Like, and there was one year like they had 9 rushing touchdowns.
Okay,
as a team. So, but I don't mind Pacheco because it's that offense. Caleb Johnson's another one too. I don't mind. Brian Robinson Jr. is another guy. And those guys are really guys that are going to be like Pacheco, Johnson, Robinson are probably the RB1s on those teams. At least with Pacheco and Robinson, they're both on decent offenses. I just think Caleb Johnson's good, and he's just going to
seeing double-digit last time. Jamal Charles, 2013.
Yeah, I knew. I mean, I stopped at 19 because I'm like, I got better things I got to do.
But yeah, you got Larry Johnson, Priest Holmes, and those guys, and then Marcus Allen back in '97. But yeah, so
but I think back pretty far. All those were. I don't know if they were all pre Andy Reid too.
They all. Oh yeah, I don't think he was there in 13, was he?
I don't think he was. So yeah, so I mean, but Pacheco, like he's got value, and then you're looking at a bunch of backups. Another guy that we drafted is J.K. Dobbins is one. I don't mind if you're going 0 RB. Zach Charbonnet with Kenneth Walker having foot injuries. Tank Bigsby. Another guy I kind of like because you can get him late. I think he's like at the end of the 12th is Trey Benson could be interesting because like I said, I think James Conner, I've said this the last couple of years, like he's going to fall apart. He's not going to be good, and he always just does. He just gets the job done. But Benson's sitting there, and when he got in last year, he looked pretty good. So Benson's a guy I don't mind taking a chance on, even though the offense isn't great.
Right.
Yeah.
But Conner he's the roulette thing also, where it's like at some point you're going to be right. At some point, like, hey, he's going to fall off. He's going to fall off. You might miss 3 years in a row. The 4th year, though, you might hit it. And that's my concern with him also on that one. Yeah. So I'll tell you, a team that and you're our unofficial Bears correspondent.
Yes.
Where do you stand on DeAndre Swift and Rashawn Johnson?
I don't like. I like them both, but I don't like either of them either.
That's fantastic analysis right there by you. I love that. I like them both, but I don't like either. That's wonderful.
I really like Rashawn Johnson coming out because I thought he was behind Bijan in college. Like he looked good, but he's now had like 2 years, 3 years, and he hasn't done much. And that because if he was good, they would have found ways to use him, even as inept as the Bears coaching was.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift has shown he can get things done. He's somewhat explosive. And then everyone's talking about, like, listen, here's another thing, the pro tip from guys that have been doing this a while. They're hyping up this rookie running back that they drafted in the 7th round.
Right.
Historically, 7th round running backs do not amount too much, especially the rookie year. So I am not like, so don't buy this hype. Like, oh, this guy, like, I'm not buying into it because the odds of 7th round running backs being productive fantasy assets, it just doesn't happen very often. So I don't mind Swift, especially because where he's going, I think Swift's probably ended up, you probably get him 7th, 8th, 9th round.
Yeah.
And I think he's probably going to get the majority of the carries. They're probably going to try to work in Johnson, but I think Swift's just better. And
I almost see a Swift Johnson like a almost like what goes on in Detroit right now with Gibbs Montgomery. I can almost see that there. I don't know if it'll be exactly that, but I kind of see that kind of a similar thing right there.
Yeah, I think so, and I think if Johnson can look good because he's a bruiser type of back, but if Johnson is averaging like 2.8, 3.1 yards a carry,
right?
I think it's going to end up being the DeAndre Swift show.
It could be, yeah.
Which is why I wanted the Bears to draft Genty this year, but they didn't. So, but yeah, I don't mind drafting. So if you're going zero running back, but here's the thing: like we just talked about these guys, which is why I don't like zero running back because you kind of have to draft. You just have to draft 5 or 6 running backs like in a row and hope you hit on 2.
It's a lottery ticket.
Yeah, and even then, like look at Bucky Urban last year. Like he really didn't come on until midway through the season. So if you start off 0-4, 1-5,
right. Yeah,
so I'd rather get an anchor. I like having an anchor running back, especially a trust like Genty. I don't know because I don't know how good the offense is going to be. I'd rather get one that I can trust, like even if it's Jacobs in the second round. Jacobs going to get the ball. The offense is good. I'd rather even a guy like Jonathan Taylor, where I'm like, I don't know that offense is going to be good, but he doesn't really have anybody behind him. So I'd rather get a running back in the first 2 rounds, even in the third, than really go zero RB.
I can't think of many times, Chad, where I've gone zero RB in a league and had it work out perfectly for just now you could wait on an RB if you want to wait till round 3, but I'm not going to wait till round 5. If I wait till round 4 or 5 to get a running back, I think my team's in big trouble.
Right, because again, you still have to start 2 in most leagues. So let's say you get Pacheco or Swift or something like that, or like Caleb Johnson, and you still have to find another guy who's going to be like a Trey Benson, Bigsby, Dobbins. Like you got to it's kind of mucked up. So I will skip our next one because we kind of talked about it already about our top 5 running backs. It's everyone's tops are about the same. So one thing I want to kind of hit on because it is Baby's got running back. So who are kind of like some sleeper guys or guys that people might think you're crazy for taking? So it is Baby's got running back. So these are the running backs that my homeboys try to warn me, but the running back makes me so horny. Who are guys like that even other like your homies are like, dude, you're crazy for being on him, and I'm like,
Look, I do love Caleb Johnson in Pittsburgh. Yeah. I like him quite a bit. I think and most of the guys I like that are longer shots are probably our rookies, and Caleb Johnson could be really good there. I know got Jalen Warren there, but I still think they're going. Caleb Johnson seems to me like he's a guy who that might not be great the first few weeks, but I think when it's all said and done, he'll be the first and second round guy, and you'll see Caleb Johnson, you'll see Jalen Warren out there more of a third down back, which might be best suited for him. Yeah. I'm telling you, I like Jaden Blue in Dallas. I do. I think that Jaden Blue in that offense, and I'm all over the Dallas offense this year, by the way. Right. It's almost like the way I look at the Bengals offense, too, because I don't know if the Dallas have Micah Parsons or not, but I think that Dallas can score a lot of points. I love the CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, and Dak throwing to them. And I think that Jaden Blue could get a lot of play in that, especially the second half of the season. And it seems like they really like him so far. He's getting some run with the first team, but I would go with him. I like Jaden Blue quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think Caleb Johnson is my favorite rookie to draft based on where he's going. Because Genty's first round or early
he's getting
second.
Overdrafted. He's getting way overdrafted.
And Hanson's going early 4th.
Right.
And stuff like that. So I think Caleb Johnson in the 6 is great. I'm telling you, like, it pains me because I'm like, I kind of want to draft some Javonte Williams because I figure some Dallas running back, one of those guys is going to probably emerge as the guy for the second half of the season. I don't think it's going to be Miles Sanders.
No.
So I think it's going to be Williams. So I think it's decent and still young. Right. Or Blue is so electric, and they like to use. They did that before when they would. It wasn't Dowdle, was it? They would bring in just
Dowdle, Rico Dowdle. Dowdle, yeah.
That one year, like they like just at the 2 minute, no huddle, dump down, and he can be explosive. So I do like those two. I like Zach Charbonnet.
Okay.
Because he has proven he looked good when he's in. he is talented. And Kenneth Walker, man, like if Walker's healthy, Walker could be a steal because he's such he's a stud, but he's dealing with foot injuries again, and a running back with foot injuries that just they don't heal if you keep on it. And Charbonnet is a quality backup and could probably start for a handful of teams if he got in the right situation. So, and he's a better pass catcher. I think that Seattle offense. I think going from Geno to Darnold's not any kind of downgrade. I don't think it's an upgrade either, but I don't think it's going to change that offense. They've got good receivers, so they can't just load the box up. So Charbonnet is a guy that I like, and he's going like in the 9th round. And then like Trey Benson's a guy too that I don't mind taking a chance on. But like I'm like you, like rookies are the ones I like to target later on, just because that they could come on strong. And I think both Giants, like we talked about it, I think in our previous one, Tracy and Scadaboo could have both have like value if one of those guys just emerges. Tracy had some huge games last year, and he's still relatively young. So I don't know. So those are some guys but I think Charbonnet and Benson are the two guys that I look at like kind of super, super late. And then Blue is a good one as well.
Two more guys I like, though, as far as like sleeper kind of guys you can get later on. One's Jerome Ford in Cleveland, only because he might be the only guy there. You know what I mean? Like he might be the only one they count on as far as a veteran goes. And then also the other guy who was in Cleveland, Nick Chubb in Houston. The Joe Mixon injury, it's starting to sound like it might be kind of serious. And so if he's gone for any length of time, and I think that they'll want a veteran running back who can protect the ball. And Chubb obviously is very hungry to get back because he wants a big payday somewhere. And so because I think the Texans will be very competitive, obviously, in the AFC South. And if they're playing games that are competitive where it's like they're playing for something, they're going to lean on Chubb, I think, in some of those games. And I like Chubb, somebody who, because I've got some stock in Mixon in a couple of keeper leagues, but Chubb is somebody, though, who I would be targeting, though, as far as a late sleeper kind of thing. And all this could change based on what happens in the next couple of weeks with injuries, which is why, as Chad and I say, wait to do your draft.
Yeah, and Chubb's a good one because like he's not that much older than Mixon, I don't think.
He's not.
Like, he's 29, but Mixon's probably 28. And they don't have any there's like if Damian Pierce is still there, and then they drafted that Marks kid, but I kind of dig Chubb where you get him later on. And then one other guy that I think you could just like last ever is not Travis, but Trevor Etienne. I think that Panthers offense is going to be decent. I'm not like Chuba helped me in a couple leagues last year, but I don't know that Chuba Hubbard's that good. So I think Trevor Etienne's probably pretty decent, and the younger. Again, it's one of those things where if they're out of it, they could go to him. But I think he could have a path to get some touches. And then also, like we talked about, Rashad Smith, if they use him in that Jerick McKinnon role, it could be huge because he is super fast. Like he's never going to be the guy he's going to get 12 to 15 carries a game. But Jerick McKinnon was very valuable that 1 year for the Chiefs. So, and again, I think rookies, if you're going to target guys late, it's going to be guys like rookies or a guy like Chubb where, he has a history of being productive. So I'm going to take a chance on him rather than like a Miles Sanders or like a, Blake Corum, kind of deal. So so running backs, that's kind of where we're at there. But I think we're both on the same page with this draft. And like, you want to get an anchor running back early.
Rink, by the way, if I was working at Kings Island and you had to guess your age or weight thing and Chuba Hubbard came up to me, I don't know if you know his age. You can look him up. I'm going to guess his age because I'm not sure if I get it right or not. Okay. I would say he's 27.
All right. I think that's probably spot on. Let me see. He's been in the league longer than I think we think he's been.
That's what I'm worried about. Yeah.
Chuba Hubbard, he's in the league 4 years. He's 26.
Okay.
He was born a day after me on June 11th, much later than me, obviously.
I was say no. Let's not say a day later. Let's say a day and a bunch of years earlier than you is when he was born. That's fine.
Years. Yeah, but yeah, he's only 26, so he's 6'1", 210. So I mean,
Size I like a running back. I like
exactly.
a 6'1", 210 running back. That's good. That's like Eddie George area right there. That's where that's what it is.
I think the Panthers are going to be good. So like I don't like he's going in a decent spot too, where he's going early fifth. So that's another guy I don't mind if as a number 2. I would not want him as a number 1, obviously.
No way. All right, folks, that's it for us tonight. Hey, look, thanks for tuning in. Monitor the injuries. We'll keep coming back to you with the information, but yeah, monitor the injuries though. Preseason's going on now. This week right now is the first full series of games. Keep an eye on that. He is Chad Rink at Chad Ocho Rinko on Twitter. I'm Jeff Thidoff, Tito at Fit Happens. Get the H in there, or you'll go to a different site. I promise you. We are on Fantasy Sports powered by DSP Media. This has been Fantasy Football Island. Like, listen, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. We'll talk to you next time.
See you guys.